Hey guys, again, I'm Tim Trivett, Director of Safety here at AAT Carriers. As you probably already know, you've spent a lot of time with me this week and on the phone prior to this. But one thing we're doing, I wanted to tape a video of some drivers with us just talking, and because I'm convinced I can speak to you for 2 hours, and these guys, your peers, can talk to you for 2 minutes and get more across than I could in 2 hours. So that's one reason I wanted to just bring these guys in. Logistically, it's entirely too hard to bring them in person during class, mainly because they're working, which is what you're here to do. So, well, that's why we did this. But I want to introduce you to Alan and Rene Craig. These guys run on truck 514 for us. They came in July of 2009, correct? Went through the orientation process as you are. Actually, we give out awards every year, and for 2009, Alan and Rene won the Best Attitude Award for the fleet, which is very impressive, especially, and I don't mean this negative, but as an owner-operator, a lot of times they're so consumed with running their own business. These guys have just been phenomenal to work with, and we're extremely proud to have them. Most of you guys already here in class have probably already talked to these guys on the phone, because they're always more than willing to talk to prospective employees for me to explain AAT Carriers and, the good, the bad, the ugly, so you guys know when I call and make you the official offer, you've got a good grasp of what we are and what we do. But anyways, Alan and Rene Craig, just a few questions straight off the cuff. They have no idea what I'm going to ask them, so here we go. How did you guys find out about AAT Carriers?
Scott and Lisa Kettleson. They were already here at company truck.
So it was a referral.
Scott called me up, and we'd both worked at Tri-State together. Scott called me up, said, "Hey Alan, you need to check this out." I was a little reluctant at the time. I said, "Things are a little tough here," but I said, I'm going to ride it out, make sure things are all right. Scott called back a couple of weeks later, said, "Alan, you really need to check this out." That's when the ball got started rolling.
Right.
And
good. Yeah, most of our hires are off referrals. I'd rather hire off referrals, as I've told y'all. Whenever I run a class, the first call I make is to our current fleet to say, "Do you know anybody?" Because hiring off a referral just gives me so much more information. So, and you guys have referred some folks to us, and they've all done well. So I'm very pleased with that. But I have to say this before we move on. Every orientation class I have, I can pretty much get a good idea of what an owner-operator, the driver that's there, I get a good idea of just some initial thoughts of those folks while they're in class. You're meeting the one individual that I could not figure out at all in orientation. He did not say a word. He sat in the back of the class. He was quiet, and he come in his overall bibs, and I told him, "Whatever you do, make sure you wear your bibs to the video today." So, but I couldn't figure out Alan Craig. I had no idea. It turned out to be one of the finest drivers I've ever met, much less in the fleet, and I don't just say that. You write the check to Tim D. Trivett if you don't care. Okay. But anyways, I couldn't figure Alan out, and that kind of leads into my next question. What was your initial thoughts of the orientation process?
I liked it. Y'all was right, straightforward.
Is that why you didn't say nothing?
We were in a situation we're not in now.
Mm-hmm.
When we came to y'all, I had a whopping $300 in all my accounts. I was ready to go to work. And what Scott had told me and what you had told me on the telephone when we talked, y'all had it. And when we sat down, I believe we met on Sunday, and we went to the rooms. You told us what all was going on, talked to us a little bit downstairs.
Yeah.
Come in here Monday morning, and just was flat, straightforward. Said, "Guys, this is what we do. This is what we're going to do." I had Scott backing everything up that you'd already said.
So you'd already heard this when I said.
Right.
Okay.
When you said, "Here's the miles, here's what our averages are."
Right.
Jeremy walks in and says, "Hey, trust me." I mean, it was all, there wasn't none of this. This is what to say. This is what happens.
Wasn't scripted.
No.
Because I kind of took you as sitting back there and just soaking it in, kind of very apprehensive, I guess I could say is the best word. but you were listening. And was I reading that right?
I wanted to do, when I came down here, I was looking for a job that I could give 100%.
Right.
110.
Mm-hmm.
That I could say, hey, I need to call you up, talk to you about something, and be honest with you, not say, I've got to lie to these guys
right.
to get some time off or because of whatever.
Right.
I'll have to tell you a little later, that one tire deal out in California.
Right.
I sweated. I did not know how. Because I told her, and I said, I can't believe this happened, and I saw it happen. How am I going to describe this to 10?
Yeah.
But that's my attitude when I came down here.
Right.
Whatever it takes. I want to make it. I'm ready to make something work.
Well,
I've been an operator for 21 years, and I was ready for a different type of company.
right.
And it's here.
Good. Well, and that leads me to my next thought. As these guys are seeing already, the orientation process, we learn each class better ways to do things. As you know, most everybody is either loaded out or headed to their load Wednesday night, no later than Thursday morning. It's very quick. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel like when you left orientation that you had the information, not just about what you're fixing to do, job responsibilities, but about AAT carriers? Did you feel like, even though it was very fast and quick, was it thorough? Did you get your questions answered?
We did. We sure did. I don't think we had any issues. Maybe just, the initial hands-on, getting used to.
Right.
Are we sure about this? But as far as, I don't believe there was any what I would call gray areas left up to us to make a decision of that wasn't ours to make.
Even though it was very quick and you were out of here. I remember you guys left Wednesday afternoon, I believe.
We left Wednesday afternoon, and when we drove out the driveway, I told you I'll be in El Paso Thursday.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, but you did feel comfortable in the information you got, and I know, we've talked since then. You had a few questions, but you did feel like, though, it was quick, it was thorough.
Yeah, just in order.
Because I remember me saying, you guys have got to listen quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knocking the rough edges off, that's always going to be, but we knew the Qualcomm.
Right.
Y'all went through the Qualcomm for us, the pay, how the pay went. I mean, there was nothing there that we went back to the room and I was scratching my head and asked Renee, did you understand what just happened?
Right.
It wasn't like that, no.
And were you able to meet everybody that you were going to be associated with as far as payroll, insurance?
Everyone.
Yeah.
Even the owners. Last time I saw this gentleman standing behind the camera was that day. So,
yeah.
But
was that a big deal to you that our owners actually came down and met you?
You know what impressed me the most about that? These three gentlemen walked into the room, and the first thing out of Ted Allen's mouth was, "We want you to retire here."
Yeah.
I'm thinking, whoa, there's a tsunami.
Right. So if he don't say that to these guys, then I'm in trouble.
You're in trouble,
yeah,
dude.
Anyway, I remember him, and he does say that to everybody, and they mean it. So
they do. I could sit here and talk your leg off all day long.
Yeah. But no, that's what I wanted, was that I want these guys to know from their peers that I worry sometimes because I feel like we go so quick during orientation and it's so scheduled out, and you know how I am. If somebody's 15 minutes off, I'm faking the panic, but I'm scrounging, But I wanted just for you to tell them that, by the time you leave, you guys feel like you had all the information you needed. Or somebody to contact once you were gone to get what you needed. That's the case?
We were the largest class you had. We had 4 operators and 2 companies at that time. I don't know how big you've had then. Mm-hmm. So you had a big plate at that time.
Right.
And I haven't heard from Greg and Ellen, Sherry and Richard, none of them. I haven't heard, questions calling up say, hey, did you understand this?
Really?
Wow. I'm the world's worstest book as far as.
Didn't we go to the Japanese steakhouse?
Yes, we did.
You guys had to St. Allen go into the steakhouse in his bed. That was a classic moment. Let me ask you this, and I'm not looking for. Well, I just want an honest answer. What are you most happy with AAT? Other than being able to make money? That's
a loaded question, dude.
Yeah.
The steady miles and steady revenue.
Now, y'all's gonna sound this and you're gonna hear this, but the respect that we get here, honest. When I call Tim up, Jeremy, Lorena, Crystal, Linda, Nina, Chris, I can call them up and say, hey, I've got a problem. Or hey, we've got an issue.
Right.
And we've run into these things. I'm going to promise you, you're going to have bad days. Not very many. Last one I can remember was Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And Nina called me back. She says, I hate to remind you of memories, but we need to talk about this once more. And we got through it. There was a lot of phone calls that day. Nobody was yelling and screaming at one another. We all talked to one another,
right.
And we got through the day, and everybody was good with it.
So even the people outside of the Chattanooga staff location, Linda, Crystal, Nina,
we've been treated by far the best here than any other carrier we've ever been contracted to.
and treated. I mean, you don't feel like that's special favoritism or anything. Just Does it feel normal for not compared to other companies, but now that you've been here a while?
It's every day.
Good.
I mean, it's an everyday deal. I am not the fastest out here on the fleet. I'll tell the folks that right now. I'm not the premier owner operator. You'll pass me. I mean, if you see truck 14, stop and drop my mirrors off somewhere because you'll pass me. I'm not a fast dropper.
Right.
I'm not a fast runner. So I'm not the, what you want to call it, in the elite fleet, so to say. And y'all treat me like, when I call you up, I say, hey, Tim, what do you think about this? Or I've got a question. You've always answered me back.
And we've had those talks where I've said, Alan, we're talking, but we're not talking.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I appreciate. It's not, well, we can't talk about this because this isn't in the book.
Right.
There's reality here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, we're not living off in another world where everything's perfect.
Right.
We make mistakes, we got scars, we hurt, we make bruises, stuff like that. And that's what I appreciate about the management of this outfit is when there's an issue, they listen.
Good.
That's we may not be able to fix it immediately,
right,
but at least when you got off the phone, you've been heard.
Great. Good answer.